Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. The Bank of Canada just dropped their key interest rate for the first time in over 4 years. We're going to talk about what this means for the housing market. We're also going to look at May sales data, both Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley, and what we can expect real estate sales-wise moving forward. Real quick before we get started, if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Hassan. I'm a real estate agent in the Vancouver area, and I make educational real estate content to help you on your real estate journey. When I'm not making videos like this, I'm helping people just like you buy and sell real estate across Metro Vancouver. So if that sounds interesting to you, you wanted to chat with me one-on-one about how I could possibly help you, you can book me for a free call in the Calendly link below, and regardless, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a future weekly video. All right, so I'm going to hop right into a very big news coming from the Bank of Canada today as I record this, Wednesday, June 5th. They dropped their key interest rate from 5% to 4.75%. This is the first cut since pandemic time. So let's talk about what this actually means for you if you're a mortgage holder in Canada. Number one, if you are on a variable rate mortgage, this impacts you directly and immediately. For every $100,000 you have in mortgage amount, you're going to save about $15 to $16 per month. So a little bit of relief for Canadians that are on variable rates. Now, the vast majority of people with mortgages in Canada are on fixed rates, and sometimes there's some confusion thinking that when the Bank of Canada drops their key rate, all of a sudden, fixed rates are going to come down. It doesn't exactly work like that. How it works with the fixed rates is they're driven by the bond market, and as bond yields drop, typically banks will then lower their fixed rates. And we have seen bond yields been dropping over the last week or so, even more today. So it's widely expected that your fixed rates, now if you're on a contract, it's not going to change, but fixed rates for new originations, mortgage originations for renewals, those are expected to come down. So again, a bit of a relief for mortgage holders in Canada. Listening to the Governor Tiff Macklem today, he suggested that, and in his own words, it's not unreasonable to think that future rate cuts are in order. Having said that, he didn't provide any sort of timeline. Of course, they go month by month and decide based on the data, or I should say meeting by meeting. It's not always every single month, but they look at the data, they look at the jobs report, inflation, which is what they're trying to get to 2%, and from that data, they decide what to do moving forward. So Bank of Canada cuts the rates. It's going to be a frenzy in the real estate market, right? Not exactly. Here's what I expect is going to happen around Vancouver and Metro Vancouver. And then once we talk about this, I'm going to jump to some of the stats we saw for last month. But realistically, yes, this is going to increase buyer sentiment. There's going to be positive sentiment in the market, and there are pent-up buyers that have been waiting for more optimal times, for some more positivity. They will now be entering the market, talking to mortgage brokers, getting their pre-approvals, and starting to get into the market. And the reason for that, even though 0.25%, it's a drop in the bucket. Now, it's a signal to Canadians that the rate hiking cycle is over. There's still a lot of people, even though we had this rate held for some time now, there were still a lot of people that thought the next move, if inflation got out of hand, would have been a rate hike. And so we know that the rate hiking cycle is now over. There's definitely buyers, people that I've spoken with, that they do want to get ahead of the curve. They don't want to wait until future rate cuts and then, demand gets so heavy. So yes, more buyers are going to come into the fold. I think the market will get a little bit more active in that sense. Having said that, what doesn't get talked about nearly enough is, as much as there is pent-up demand, there is also some pent-up supply. And even though we are experiencing higher levels of supply now, there are lots of sellers out there that have been waiting for better conditions to list their properties as well. We have to keep in mind, this whole scenario where people locked in mortgages at very, very low rates, there wasn't a ton of incentive for some sellers to actually sell and move off of those rates. And when supply was low, which it has been over the last couple years, 2-3 years, there weren't a lot of opportunities for sellers to move up into properties that they love. There wasn't a lot of choice for them. So people were pretty much kind of trapped in their homes a little bit, not a high motivation to sell. So now what we're seeing is, this increased level in supply. We're seeing that now we're going to be in a rate cutting cycle, however long that should take. And so there are going to be sellers that are going to be more serious about their decisions now moving forward, actually placing their homes on the market, actually having opportunities and having properties that they like that they can go after. So I think all in all, we're going to see an active market, but it's not going to be all buyers. It's not going to be all sellers. It's going to be very dependent on what type of property you're looking for and which area. Our markets are micro, right? You could look at downtown Vancouver condos. It's a very different market than you might be looking at a detached home in Burnaby. So it's really important that whichever real estate agent you're working with, if you're looking to get into the market or sell right now, they know what's going on in your neck of the woods specifically, but expect more activity now. So let's talk a little bit about what has happened with sales and inventory in Metro Vancouver, in Fraser Valley. The long and short of it is 20% is a common theme in the sense that active inventory up 20% over the 10-year average now. Sales down Metro Vancouver, 20% below that 10-year average. On the Fraser Valley side, very similar numbers as well. So, you're seeing much fewer sales happen. You're seeing inventory pick up quite consistently throughout the year. There's a lot of opportunities in certain pockets for buyers. And again, I think we're going to see that continue. One of the areas that I've been looking at pretty closely are Vancouver area condos. Amidst all the talk of Airbnb legislation and having investors placing these condos on the market. I'm fielding calls every week from new investors thinking they want to put their homes on the market, their investment condos on the market. I wanted to see how prices would hold up. And what we saw from a supply perspective on that Vancouver condo side is month over month supply ticked up 4%, but prices held pretty much flat, up 0.7% actually. So I was a little bit surprised to see the strength in price on the condo side. If we look at benchmark prices month over month for condos in Metro Vancouver, the area that has taken the biggest hit, down about 1.5%, Burnaby North, which are the Brentwood condos. And if you've watched my channel for a bit, we talked about how inventory has picked up considerably in Brentwood with newly constructed towers. There's a lot of opportunities there. So, as a buyer, if you are flexible to which sort of location you're looking at, there are a lot of deals to be had there. I get a lot of people reach out to me and they say, as long as I'm on a SkyTrain line and I'm not this far east, I'm okay. And then when I have clients like that, we're able to drill into which neighborhoods have the most inventory, the most options for them, so they can get the best property at the best price. So flexibility always wins. But looking at sales, looking at where we're at, this Bank of Canada rate cut probably couldn't have come at a better time. The sales are extremely sluggish. May is not generally a slow month for Vancouver real estate, but a lot of uncertainty in the market, higher borrowing costs, again, the extra inventory. I truly believe that a window of opportunity opens up here now for certain buyers that are buying for the long term. And again, depending on what sort of property you're looking at in what sort of area. But, if we look forward, what's going to happen now? Again, the Bank of Canada, of course, they cannot commit to when future rate cuts are going to come. Now, they have said in the past, rates are going to be higher for longer, and I agree with that too. We're not going to see a scenario where, I don't believe, where rates are going to get cut as rapidly as they were increased. I think it's going to be a bit of a slow go, and I think that rate is going to settle. Definitely not as low as a lot of people are thinking, but again, this puts positive sentiment into the market. Buyers will be back. Some sellers will be back. So even more inventory to choose from. More buyers will be in the market too. I think it's going to be a pretty active market. The thing to watch, of course, as always, are prices. Now, most prices We're flat or inched up marginally across Metro Vancouver in the Fraser Valley month over month. But it's something to continue to watch as we see more listings hit the market. What is this actually going to do for prices? So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you did, hit the like button, because what that does is it takes the video and it sends it out to more people so they can also learn from it. And if you enjoy weekly real estate content, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss next week's video. And lastly, again, if you're in the Vancouver area or the Fraser Valley, you want to chat with me one-on-one about your real estate situation, you can book me for a free call or just send me a text. Give me a call, shoot me a message, whatever's easiest for you. I'd be happy to chat with you one-on-one, but I want to thank you for watching this week's video, and I look forward to seeing you next week.